right, so let's talk about high notes. One of the biggest problems for a lot of singers or vocalists is this idea of carrying up too much weight, carrying up too much chest with shouting. And you might have actually seen this being mentioned a lot around the internet. And alongside this, you might have heard people say, okay, well, if you don't want to, pull up too much weight, if you don't want to be shouting, then you got to thin out your voice. You got to stretch it out and shed off some of that vocal weight. Now, for me, this is something I personally struggled for a long time. It just didn't seem to be intuitive for me. And maybe it's because, I can't see it. You can't really see your vocal folds, thinning out or that kind of thing. And so I really struggle with this. And even when my teachers, get me to do these exercises, nay, 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 and get me to do all these kind of weird, quirky exercises without really explaining it, I was still stuck and I didn't really get anywhere. And so for today, I really want to break it down into two simple ideas, two simple vocal exercises, and explain some of the thinking, some of the cues that I feel, and some of the rationale as well, so you actually get it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. My name is Ivan. I'm a voice teacher who coaches singers all around the world from beginners to professionals. And on this show, we're looking to demystify the process of learning how to sing and make it as simple and as easy as possible for you. Because let's face it, learning how to sing can feel confusing, really confusing. I have been there before. So I want to provide these really simple and actionable tips for you. And so if this is something that is up your lane, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you get access to our episodes every single Friday. And also don't forget to hit the bell notification. That way you can actually get a quick notification when the episodes are up. And also if you're looking to fast track your singing and you want something more systematic, just check out some of the links in the description. I have got some self-study courses and some ways to work with me privately down there as well. So let's start off and talk about what exactly is this term thinning out. And it can be really abstract for some singers, but one way to really think about it and to define it is you can think of your vocal folds as rubber bands, right? When we are singing and we're making, sounds with our voice, it is a bit of a rubber band. And what happens is when you engage something called the CT muscles, it actually stretches your vocal folds. And if you notice, if any of you have tried this, you've got a rubber band and you kind of stretch it and you flick on it, the pitch actually goes higher. So the more thinned out and more stretched out your vocal folds are, the higher the pitch that is made. And so this is actually a mechanism that we want to employ with our own singing, right? It's actually really important because I find that for a lot of singers, the biggest problem that they run into is they try to increase their pitch through maybe more volume, more push, more strain in the neck. And it really isn't an efficient way to sing higher. And so if we want to sing higher with less effort, we want to figure out how do we thin out the voice. So how exactly do we do this? And I'm going to break it down into two simple steps. Now, the first step here is localizing and finding the bite or the ping or the ring in your voice. And basically for some of us, we feel this as almost like a little metallic kind of bite in our voice. And you can actually hear it. When you listen to great singers, you notice that they have this kind of clear kind of cut to their singing. Now, the reason why it's really important to establish this ping or this kind of metallic bite in the voice is it basically means your vocal folds come together nice and efficient. When they do, they create this kind of really nice buzzing kind of quality. And this is going to be really important because when we start going up higher, when we start to stretch our voice and thin out, we need to keep this buzzing going, which means the chords are staying together nicely, but they're just stretching out now. Even as a little exercise on a very comfortable note, I want you to do this. Just give me an ah vowel. Yeah, ah. You can kind of speak, you can make a sound like that. And I want you to kind of close your eyes and see if you can notice a metallic kind of bite, like a little buzzy. It might even be somewhat annoying to you somewhere in the upper back part of your throat. And it's going to be this really kind of clear-cutting quality to the voice. See if you can find it together with me. Ah. I kind of feel like up here, somewhere up and back, maybe slightly behind my nose. This is a really important ingredient for your voice. And so, you can pause this video, pause this episode, and just give this a try. See if you can establish this first. Now, if you're having trouble with finding this ping or this bite in the sound, don't worry, I got you. This is actually something I cover more systematically in my course, The Fundamentals of Singing. And on top of that, I share a lot of the fundamentals that you need when it comes to building a good sounding singing voice. And so if you want more details, check out the link in the description. It is a course that I've spent a lot of time in developing. All right. And so now let's explore this idea of thinning out. And so I'm going to do a little scale here, and I'm going to choose the vowel ong. Basically the end of the word long or strong or wrong, that kind of sound. And the reason why it's really cool here is I've noticed from experience and also with some of the clients that I work with, the ong vowel really keeps this ping up and back near the soft palate. And also, there's almost this feeling of a semi occlusion or bit of back pressure, which tends to make the effort required for those notes a lot easier. And that's going to be a really cool tip to find this kind of thinning or stretching out feeling. And so I'm going to share a couple of examples and also talk about what are some of the sensations, the cues, and maybe even some of the thinking behind when I'm doing this exercise. And so let's actually start here. I'm going to start here right on the middle C. Long, long. And even here, what I'm thinking about here is I'm not adding too much volume. I'm keeping a bit of that kind of ong sound, really thinking I'm making sure I'm getting the right vowel. There's a really nice kind of bite or cutting kind of sound in the upper back part of my throat. But I noticed that the sound is kind of going up and back behind my nose. This is a really cool sensation, and it's a good sign that the voice is starting to thin out a bit more. So let's do a couple more and see if you can hear this happening. Long, 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 long. Now, right here, this is the male kind of break or that passaggio kind of area where a lot of guys will kind of shout. And this is where I'm really keeping my focus. I got to keep those fundamentals, keep the ping in the up and back part of my throat, keeping my breath support, and trying to make sure I'm on pitch as well. This is allowing me, of course, to start stretching. So I don't know if you guys can hear it. Let's do a couple more. Long, long, really stretchy here. Long, long. It kind of thins out quite a bit here, and almost up here, I feel like it's nothing but ping. It's almost this kind of just really pingy kind of sound that's in my face, but it feels quite easy to do. Long, long, long. Do you guys hear that bite? Do you guys hear that kind of really almost like metallic kind of quality coming out? I feel it really prominently up behind my nose in the soft palate kind of area. So number one, you really got to be localizing that ping and making sure you feel that. But then as you keep that ping, you can also experience this additional kind of stretching or the sound kind of migrating up and back behind your nose as well. Two very different kind of sensations at the moment, but if you can learn to experience them both, then you start to move up and down your range with no real dramas here. So hopefully this gives you a bit of an idea of what it sounds like and a bit of an exercise for you to play around with. Number one, you see if you can find that kind of ping, that metallic bite, even on your lower notes, and then you just take it up a very simple scale, but you're really keeping those fundamentals there. The cool part about this is when you can find that feeling of thinning out, you can find that feeling of stretching out, all of a sudden those high notes, you basically just sing in that same spot. For example, so this is static, so this is static, what we meant, what we said that night, why'd I let you go, I miss you. So there you go. This is a little idea on how you can start to thin out your voice without flipping to falsetto to get to some of those high notes. And I've shown you 2 exercises, and I'm also showing you an example in a song. Now, it's always going to be a bit harder to do it in a song because there's so many things happening. So I always recommend practice with some scales first, practice with some of the exercises I've shared earlier. But with the right practice, when you do it again and again, and if you have something systematic, like my course, The Fundamentals of Singing, with hard work, all of this will pay off and it will be worth it. So team, take what you can from this video and apply this to your own routine. Application is key here. And if you're feeling stuck, don't feel like you have to do this alone. This is something I help my clients with all around the world. And even if you can't, meet with me in person, you can always check out some of my self-study course where I break it down systematically for you. So team, keep practicing your singing and keep becoming better. And I'll see you all for our next episode. Take care.